Went from condos to Pop's house, on calls now bus routes.
I think it's a beautiful thing how you could go straight from waiting tables to a tryout for the Detroit Pistons. So one thing that I want to ask, because I know you said you went to a lot of different schools in high school, at any point in time, did you ever go to college, or you kind of skipped that after high school? How did that time frame go after high school?
College for me was great. You know,
okay.
You know, I like to say the same thing here is that you know, even with my purpose today, that Mark 6, a prophet has no honor in his own land. You know, in order to grow, one must go. Then you can come back and sow. You know, so I went 1,652 miles from Detroit to Texas A&M Prairie View. I chose Texas A&M Prairie View. Because like I said, I was never the best, but I was still ranked in the state. I chose Prairie View because it gave me opportunity to meet my mother. Like I said, I didn't meet my mother till I was 17. And ironically, I received a phone call from my mom in Texas. And a week later, I received the only offer for a college scholarship in Texas A&M. I received, I think it was around 16, 17 different offers from schools around the country.
Wow.
And so so
wait. So before you get into that, so you had 16 to 17 offers in high school to go play ball at almost in all those different colleges and everything, right? Wow, that's amazing. So you were choosing between a certain amount of schools in Texas, A&M was one of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Man,
right,
that was the only school in Texas, and it was so ironically that I met, you know, that I received that offer. You know, I received a phone call first from my mom, my brother, my sister, and things like that. I received that phone call, you know, just, you know, on the level. Then I get the offer. You know, so I was like, well, you know, okay, you know, and I wasn't as awake and aware. I was like, you know what, that must be divine. You know what I mean? Such and such, you know what I mean? And so then it was a great decision, you know, for me I looked at the offer, and then, you know, I said, wow, you know, I got my mom and this and up the street. You know, that was a great decision for me. At that time, my father, who was invested in my whole basketball career, you know, and my whole life at that time, you know, I know he was excited, you know what I mean, but he was disappointed. He was like, man, you trying to go chase your mom now, you know, you trying to do this and that, you know, with your mom. I was like, no, you know, and, you know, my mom, you know, even still to this day, she's overcoming, you know, past trauma and issues of being, you know, of going through the things that she went through to make her, you know, who she is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it, you know, it was some opposition there, you know, from the family wise, but I had to make the best decision that was for me, and the best decision for me was get away from Detroit. Get away from Detroit, because I've seen what Detroit can do. What Detroit can do to people. Yeah. You know, and like I said, when you're in a hometown and you know you're from LA, so you know, you know, it's that, you know, hey, when you go away, you know you get some new energy, you get some new sunlight. You're away from your family and friends. You can grow, develop, and become your own person. You know what I mean? And, you know, and I chose Prairie View because one, I love the team. I met the dudes on the team. Half the team was from Flint or Detroit. You know what I mean? So we could connect like that. And the other half was just some real cool brothers. You know what I mean? And Prairie View was in the middle of nowhere. So it's not like we can go party here, go this and that. You know, I was focusing on my books. And in my first year, I was a 4.0 student.
Wow.
You know, and in my second year, you know, I ended up, you know, transferring to Ferris State, you know, end up getting introduced to weed, alcohol, you know what I mean? Girls, you know what I mean? I went from 4.0 to 1.0, you know, like it, you know, it was took me out of my element, you know, so, you know, and I wasn't as successful up there at that school. I was more successful down at, you know, in Texas, you know what I mean? But you know, I ended up, you know, getting associates and just growing my mission and purpose, you know, and still just, you know, tapping in and stuff and connecting. And the basketball took over, you know, for a period of time, bounced around a couple different practice leagues and different leagues, ABAs and things like that. But that wasn't my calling, though.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't my calling.
I had to show 'em that I wasn't made. I thank God.